Welcome back to the cryptowrld channel, everyone. My name is Josh, and right now it has happened. Bitcoin has officially confirmed a break towards the downside below this very important level of support, repeating history. But this is on the daily time frame. Do not be fooled, because in the immediate short term, when we're talking about maybe the next 1 or 2 days, we've now officially confirmed a new signal in the short term for the price of Bitcoin that we need to pay attention to. So in just a moment, I'll be sharing my next trading opportunity, which, yes, I've just opened a new trade which you could actually copy, and I'll talk about this in just a moment. Planning to make a lot of profits from the next Bitcoin move about to happen very soon, while the Bitcoin dominance is continuing a bullish relief here, which is not good for the altcoin market. We're seeing Ethereum right now attempting a break below this very important area of support, alongside XRP also starting to break below this important area of support. So I'll be talking about all of that and more later in the video, so definitely watch to the end. First of all, starting off on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, and the super trend indicator is still sitting in the green, indicating a larger bull market. But on this weekly Bitcoin price chart, we still have that massive bearish divergence, which recently reconfirmed with the previous weekly candle close here, with, of course, confirming higher highs in the price in the candle closes and lower highs confirmed again in the RSI on the weekly Bitcoin price chart, which ultimately means, once again, we still have a bearish divergence playing out on the weekly time frame, which will likely play out at least over the next month, possibly longer, possibly a couple of months, but at least over the next 1 month or so, that sort of time frame. Expect a lack in bullish momentum, a lot of weakness, and quite possibly a bit more of a pullback within the next 1 or 2 months is a very likely scenario here on the larger time frames. And if we're taking a look at the daily Bitcoin price chart, right now we're potentially still repeating history. And obviously, if you've been watching my channel over the last week or so, you'll know that I've been talking about this chart right here since actually right before we saw the flash crash. I've been warning about this top signal possibly repeating, and obviously even after the flash crash, I said don't be fooled by that little bounce here. It's possible we could see another retracement, especially in the coming weeks. So once again, this is possibly just now starting to play out, especially now that we've officially confirmed a daily candle close below this very important ascending line of support. And so obviously that ascending line of support was still sitting at roughly 109k, give or take, and of course this previous low was at closer towards 108,000, 109k. That was a crucial area for the price to hold, and the latest daily candle close confirmed at basically around 108,000, so well below this ascending line of support, and basically right on this previous low right here at roughly 108,000. But obviously, since that previous daily candle close at around 108,000, the price continued to further drop, and so far we are seeing a little bit of a bounce in the short term due to this reason I'll talk about in just a moment. But right now, obviously, we have broken below this line of support with now one confirmation signal, which in terms of the price structure on the daily time frame for what we could be expecting over the next couple of weeks is not good news for Bitcoin. And now obviously, just because we saw this outcome last time, it doesn't mean we're going to see the exact same thing this time around. In fact, it's very unlikely we'll see the exact same price action. So maybe we could see something similar, but don't expect the exact same price action. So basically a bit more of a pullback is still very likely within the next couple of weeks or so, especially if we fail to get back above around 110k. That's a crucial level on the price chart and could likely now act as new resistance. And so overall, when we're talking about what we should be expecting in the next few weeks or the next 1 month, that sort of time frame, expect things to be a bit more bearish than they are bullish, at least based on this price structure, the break below this important line of support, and especially on the weekly time frame, that massive bearish divergence technically reconfirming. So overall, once again, this is all pointing towards things potentially looking more bearish than bullish. It's not going to be only bearish. Obviously, we are going to see little bounces here and there, but likely going to be more bearish than bullish over the next couple of weeks or so, most likely over the next 1 month, that sort of time frame. And in just a moment, I'll be sharing my Bitcoin trading strategy that I'm currently taking right now that actually will be profitable even if I'm wrong on the timeline for this bearish price action. So for example, if we bounce right now and this is it for the bearish price action, the trading strategy I'll share in just a moment will be profitable in that case. But if we see a further pullback in the coming weeks or over the next 1 month or even a couple of months of bearish price action, and then see some sort of bounce at some point later on, the trading strategy in that situation would be even more profitable. But just before talking about my exact Bitcoin trading strategy, of course, we need to take a look at the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart, because the price of Bitcoin has now just officially confirmed a new bullish divergence, because we now have a clear lower low in the price in the candle closes and higher lows now officially confirmed in the 4-hour 4-hour Bitcoin RSI with now 2 confirmation signals with 2 candle closes confirming in the green on the 4-hour time frame. And now obviously in terms of the actual candle wick lows, we don't have a lower low in the price, but considering the RSI by default goes off candle closes as the input data, we need to of course look at the candle closes. We need to look at the same data set to see a divergence between the same sort of data set between the price and the RSI. And so for example, if you're looking at the candle wick lows, you then have to go into the RSI settings to actually change the input data from closes to the actual lows. And so with that explained, once again, we now have an actual bullish divergence officially confirmed on the 4-hour Bitcoin price chart. And the most common outcomes from a bullish divergence are either just a sideways consolidation, so choppy sideways price action, or potentially a bit of a short-term bullish relief as a very likely outcome. And so once again, as I always say, the price does not move in a straight line. So if, for example, we could be looking a bit more bearish than we are bullish over the next couple of weeks or so, that doesn't mean no bullish price action at all. That doesn't mean no bounces at all. Of course, we can see the occasional short-term bounce or short-term bullish relief on slightly smaller time frames during perhaps a bit of a larger pullback like what we saw just here, for example. And so overall, those are my expectations in the short to mid-term for the price of Bitcoin. Once again, potentially a bit of a relief now, not necessarily a massive bullish reversal up towards the highs, but a bit of a bullish relief, or at worst, just a sideways consolidation. So in other words, a break from all of the bearish price action is very likely maybe over the next just couple of days. Once again, only talking about the short term, but looking at the bigger picture on the daily time frame and also on the weekly time frame, still looking a bit more bearish than we are bullish, at least when we're talking about the next few weeks or maybe over the next 1 month. And so with all of that being said, what is my Bitcoin trading strategy? And well, right now, I've actually just entered into a new grid bot trading strategy, which essentially buys Bitcoin as we drop here and then also takes profit if we see any short-term bounce or a recovery in the price of Bitcoin. And so basically you have here, all of the green lines are effectively buy orders. So the moment we see any little dip here or a larger dip, essentially we have a bunch of buy orders here buying Bitcoin along the way towards the downside. And then the moment we see any little bounce or even a further recovery all the way back towards the upside, it sells that Bitcoin to take profits along the way towards the upside. And so this right here is known as a grid strategy, where there's basically a massive grid of buy orders and sell orders, as you can see right here. And it's a grid bot strategy, which basically means it's automated. So the moment the price of Bitcoin, for example, takes out one of these buy orders, it places a new sell order just above the price. So for example, if we go all the way down here towards, let's just say 90,000, I'm not saying that will happen, but let's just say if that does happen, that will buy a bunch of Bitcoin along the way towards the downside. And as those buy orders are being triggered, it will automatically place new sell orders above the price. So the moment we see any little bounce, it will automatically take profits from the lower buy orders. And it works the other way around as well. For example, if we see a little bounce in the price of Bitcoin, that will sell some Bitcoin here and then also place new buy orders just underneath the price. So the moment we see a little dip in the price, it'll buy some more Bitcoin. And you can see the range of all of these orders ranges between $70,000 to $130,000 per Bitcoin, which basically means if the price of Bitcoin drops all the way down towards 90,000, 80,000, or even 70,000, all the way down here, and then we see a bounce, the whole time it's buying Bitcoin. It's got orders all the way towards the downside, going all the way down towards 70,000. Once again, I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying that is the grid that I have placed. So if the price bounces anywhere between now to 70,000, basically the grid bot is making a bunch of money. And so in other words, this trading strategy will only ultimately lose if we see a dump all the way below 70,000 and continue dumping without seeing any recovery or any decent bounce along the way. So if you think that's going to happen, if you think we're just going to have basically a straight line below 70,000, then of course this strategy is not for you. Of course, that would be a losing strategy. But if you think we're going to either bounce here or bounce after a bit more of a drop, let's just say 90K, 80K, if you think we're going to bounce anywhere in this range right here and see a decent recovery at some point in the next few weeks or in the next few months, this trading strategy will make a bunch of easy money. And I only just opened this strategy right before starting recording this video. So in my opinion, not financial advice, it's still a decent entry point for this strategy. Once again, not financial advice, but you can see the moment we see any little bounce here, once again, it's just about to trigger a sell order, taking a little bit of profits on Bitcoin. And then if we see another dip, we'll buy more Bitcoin, etc. And the best thing about this trading strategy is you could actually copy it very easily using a link below below the video. In fact, I'll leave the second link below the video will take you to the copy page where you can literally just press one button and copy this trading strategy if you want to. Once again, not financial advice. I'm just sharing what I'm currently doing. But if you want to copy this exact trade, it'll be the second link below the video. The first link below the video will take you to this sign up page over on Pinex, because yes, unfortunately, you can only copy this trading bot if you actually signed up to Pinex using my link below the video. And in fact, the first link below the video will take you to this page right here where you can claim massive sign up and deposit bonuses. For example, if you simply just make an account and complete KYC, you get a $50 bonus onto your Pinex account. And also there's deposit bonuses. So by the way, yes, Pinex is also a no KYC exchange as well. You can use it without KYC. But with that being said, there's also deposit bonuses. If you deposit as little as $100, you get a $100 bonus into your Pinex account. And also if you deposit up to 10,000, you get a 1,000 USDT deposit bonus into your Pinex account. Massive free money from the exchange just by simply making an account using that link. So if you're going to be trading crypto anyway, you might as well check it out. Once again, first link below the video to this page to claim these bonuses, and then you can go ahead to copy my trading strategy, which once again, you can only copy this trading bot if you're actually using the link below the video to make your Pinex account. And so that is my current Bitcoin trading strategy. And in case you're wondering, I'm planning to hold this trading strategy, this grid bot, open for at least a period of weeks, possibly a period of months. So this is not just a short-term trade where I'll be opening it today and closing it tomorrow. Once again, if for example, we continue a larger correction in the price, or even just a larger sideways consolidation over the next few weeks or over the next 1 month or so, obviously this grid bot trading strategy will be making a bunch of profits for as long as we at least see some short-term bounces here and there during this entire range. And if you're more of a manual trader using long positions and short positions, or just buying on the spot market, there's also 2bit as another exchange out there that I also trade on. So I'll also make sure to leave a link to 2bit below the video. And if you use that link, it'll take you to this page right here where you can claim massive bonuses on your 2bit account. For example, just by depositing and trading crypto, you can claim up to 10,000 USDT in trial fund bonuses and 8,000 USDT in actual withdrawable stable coins. And on top of that, without making any deposits or any trades, you can also get a free $30 sign up bonus and 1 month free VIP3 upgrade. So basically very cheap trading fees over on 2bit, but once again, only if you use that link. So if you want another exchange out there, another option out there for trading crypto, once again, there's also 2bit. Second link, actually third link below the video to 2bit if you want to claim these major bonuses here. But with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin liquidation heat map, and right now we've already wiped out a lot of liquidity below the price of Bitcoin, and now we still have a lot of liquidity building above the price of Bitcoin at roughly 116,000. And so it's possible that this could draw the price of Bitcoin towards the upside in the short term, especially with the help of that short-term bullish divergence, but it's unlikely that would go all the way up towards 116,000 to wipe out this liquidity based on this reason alone. Obviously, we have to consider all of this other information to figure out what is going to be very likely for Bitcoin moving forward. So like I said earlier, it's very likely we're going to see just a slight little relief in the short term for the next couple of days, but still not in the clear when we're talking about the next couple of weeks or the next 1 month. And with that being said, taking a quick look at the Bitcoin dominance on the daily time frame, and over the last 1 day, not a lot has changed. So I'll keep this quick. Overall, still playing out the bullish divergence. Continue to expect a bit more of a bullish relief as a very likely outcome in the Bitcoin dominance. But of course, as we approach this area, expect a lot of resistance in this area in between around 60.5% to 61% in the Bitcoin dominance. And in case you're new to all of this, all you really need to know when it comes to the Bitcoin dominance is if it's bullish, a lot of the altcoin market on average is underperforming Bitcoin. If it's bearish, the altcoins are doing better than Bitcoin. So basically, if we, for example, make our way back up towards this resistance, while that is happening in the coming days, a lot of altcoins might be doing a bit worse than whatever Bitcoin is doing. But then if, for example, we hit this resistance again and start struggling and see another possible rejection, while we're seeing that ultimate rejection there, obviously altcoins can have some decent bullish moves against Bitcoin. But in the immediate short term, because we're not yet at that resistance, it's likely that altcoins on average will be slightly underperforming Bitcoin, at least as of right now. And if we're taking a look at Ethereum on the 3-day time frame, we're seeing this right now for Ethereum, obviously breaking below, or at least attempting a break below this very important area of support in between around 3.9k to 4.1k. But technically, we've not yet actually confirmed the break below this support with that 3-day candle close. And so the next 1 to 2 days is a very crucial time for the price of ETH to actually hold this area. Obviously, in a little over a day from now, we have the next 3-day candle close. And if it's below roughly 3.9K, and especially if we fail to get back above that area, flipping it into new resistance, that would be very bearish price structure on the larger time frames. And in that situation, in the coming weeks, would likely see a move at least down towards 3,500, possibly worse. And if we're taking a look at the daily time frame, we technically still have a bullish divergence to watch out for, which is technically still confirmed. And even if it invalidates slightly, it could reconfirm because the RSI, at least for now, is still forming higher lows. And so ultimately, in the next few days, maybe even over the next week or so, it's possible we could see a bit of a sideways consolidation for the price, which means short-term bullish and short-term bearish price action potentially bouncing around relatively sideways. And obviously over the last 1 week or so, we've seen obviously a decent bounce and then another dump, which is ultimately some sideways price action, but with volatility in between, because obviously the price is basically at the same level that we were at close to a week ago, just after the flash crash here. So I expect something similar moving forward, bouncing around, but somewhat relatively sideways, not seeing massive moves on the chart. And as for short-term support and resistance to watch out for, we have a lot of support at roughly 3750, which is pretty much exactly where we bounced from based on the 8-hour candle closes here. And in terms of resistance, if we see a continued bounce, expect some resistance at roughly 3950 and more resistance in between 4060 to 4.1K and more resistance in between 4250 to 4280. And there's also a possible double bottom currently forming, also known as a W pattern, but that would only officially confirm if we see a confirmed breakout above around 4280, above this area of resistance. And in that situation, if we actually saw that play out and a confirmed breakout above 4280, in that situation, that would set up a massive bullish price target slightly above this high right here. So we could potentially see a move all the way up towards 4.7K if we first confirm a breakout above around 4280, but obviously it's at this point unlikely we'll see a breakout above 4280. So we first need to see that happen before talking about any larger bullish price targets. But in the immediate short term, expect a slight little recovery for the price, a little relief from all of the bearish price action, especially if Bitcoin plays out something similar with this short-term bullish divergence. And if we're taking a look at the price of Solana on the 2-day time frame, obviously the price is still trading below this important area right here in between 190 to 200. And we're now pretty much running into the next support, which based on the candle closes is at around 177, or the candle wick low at around 170. So at roughly 170 to 180, give or take, we have a lot of support around there for the price. And if we break below 170, in that situation, expect a bit more support at roughly 158, give or take, and more support in between 143 to 146. And as for resistance, I would expect a decent amount of resistance now in between 190 to 200, and above that, in the short term, expect some more resistance at around $208 and more resistance at around 218. And just like Ethereum on this 8-hour time frame in the somewhat shorter term here, Solana on this 4-hour time frame is also forming a possible double bottom pattern, also known as a W pattern. But once again, this will only officially confirm and set up a bullish price target only if we confirm a breakout above this high right here, which is sitting at roughly $209 to $210. And so once again, we first need to actually confirm candle closes above ideally $210 in order to officially confirm this as a W or double bottom pattern. And once again, in that situation, that will set up a massive bullish price target above these highs right here. And also, we didn't really create a lower low in the price with this latest low, at least not yet. But if the price, for example, dipped slightly below this previous low that we saw after that flash crash right here, in that situation, there is a possible bullish divergence forming here, considering we do have a massive higher low in the RSI. But once again, we also have higher lows in the price. So currently, there's no bullish divergence. Currently, there's no divergence at all. The price and the RSI are following similar, obviously, higher lows. But I'm just simply pointing this out so that if we see another little pullback and break slightly below the previous low here, in that situation, there's very likely a bullish divergence also forming for Solana. But as I always say, expect similar price action for Solana as what Bitcoin is doing. Really, a lot of the altcoins likely going to play out very similar price action to Bitcoin. So as I said earlier in the video, it's likely Bitcoin's going to have a bit of a relief in the short term over the next couple of days, which can also help a lot of the altcoins in the short term for the next couple of days. And if we're taking a look at the price of XRP on the weekly time frame, obviously we're still playing out this massive bearish divergence, so not a lot lot has changed over the last one day on the weekly chart. So getting straight into the shorter term on the daily time frame. Right now, obviously, we've been attempting a break below this important area of support here, but not yet actually confirming a break towards the downside. And so in case you're new to the channel, this area of support is based on the all-important golden pocket area of support, the most important Fibonacci area, and that's sitting in between roughly $2.30 to $2.40, more specifically around $2.33 to $2.40. And so once again, we've not yet actually confirmed a daily candle close below this area, which means for all we know, this could just be a candle wick towards the downside if we can confirm this candle close back above basically $2.30, ideally back above $2.33. But if we officially confirm the break with a daily candle close, especially below $2.30, and then especially if we fail to get back above that area, flipping into new resistance, in that situation, the next target towards the downside, the next Fibonacci level and point of support that I'll be watching is at just above $2, around $2.05 as the next major target towards the downside. But once again, only if we first confirm a break below around $2.30. And if the price of XRP continues to hold this area as support, and if we see a bit more of a bounce here, in that situation, the next major point of resistance I'll be watching is sitting at roughly $2.60 to $2.70, more specifically around $2.63 as a major point of resistance to watch out for. And if we're taking a look at the price of Chainlink on the daily time frame, it's a somewhat similar situation for Chainlink. Obviously, still technically within bearish price structure, forming lower highs and lower lows, but in the immediate short term, we've just pretty much perfectly bounced from this exact area of support, the golden pocket area of support in between around 1520 to 1570, 1560, 1570. And based on the latest low right here, the latest actual candle low, candle wick low, that's sitting at pretty much exactly $15.70. And so continue to expect a lot of support in that area, in the mid $15 area. And once again, going up towards roughly 1570 based on the golden pocket, and also based on this previous low still acting as support. And as for resistance, if we see a continued bounce here, expect a lot of resistance starting at roughly 1720 to 1750, give or take, and above that, major resistance in between 1950 to $20. And overall, once again, still within larger bearish price structure, still within a bearish trend on the daily Chainlink price chart, similar to XRP, still in a bearish trend technically speaking, but in the immediate short term, especially if Bitcoin continues to play out a little bit of a bullish relief or even just a sideways consolidation, we're likely going to see a bit of a relief, maybe a slight bounce in the short term for a lot of the altcoin market as well. And so just remember, of course, even if we're in a bearish trend, it's not a straight line towards the downside. Little bounces like this, especially as we run into major points of support, are very normal to see. And once again, if you want to take any of these trading opportunities in the price of any crypto, check out the links below the video to those exchanges if you want to claim massive bonuses that are only available using those links. And in order to actually copy my trade, once again, you have to use that first link below the video to make your Pinex account. And if you want to actually know how you can take trades like this and other trades that I've showed here on the channel, then make sure to watch these videos popping up right here on your screen. The video in the top left shows you how you can profit from bullish or bearish price action using long positions or short positions, and the video in the bottom left shows you how you can easily profit from choppy sideways price action. But anyway, that is everything that I have to say for today. I really hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next video.